Okay, this tutorial is for lesson 26C, and this one will help us to create a viewport. This one's kind of interesting because DraftSite already put a viewport on here for us. So we can either customize this viewport currently by turning ortho off and just kind of dragging it and making it whatever size we want to. Or we can flat out delete this viewport as well. Now it's gone and we can make one of our own. When you are making viewports, one thing you want to have out is the Viewport Toolbar. So you can go ahead and right click and go to Toolbars, and it is called View Tiles in DraftSite. In AutoCAD it's called Viewports. Here it's called View Tiles, and I will show you what it looks like. Here it is right here, and here it says Display View Tiles Manager. So this shows you all the different types of viewports that there are. You can do a single viewport. Sometimes you want to show many different views, so there's many different kinds that you can choose on here. You can also just choose single tile, polygonal viewport, and convert entity to viewport. So I'm going to go ahead and find a spot for this. Looks like I've got a good spot for this down here. And right now, according to the book on page 26-27 for 26C, it wants us to make a viewport, and it looks like it wants us to start somewhere up here. Not exactly on that corner, but a little bit inside this corner. I'm going to get as close as I can, and it wants us to bring it all the way down till we get over here, but it doesn't want us to go into the title block area. So this would probably be close enough, and so there is a viewport. The only problem with this viewport currently is it is on the border layer, and one of the layers that they had us make, I believe back in 26A, is actually make a viewport layer. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. Also, one other thing I want you to be aware of in this is if you double click inside the viewport, you are now looking in model space. And if you come outside of the viewport and you double click, now you are working in paper space. So you need to understand that anytime you double click in here and you see the X and Y axis, just like you're used to in model space, you are actually working in model space. So if I were to draw something in here, that is in model space currently. Oops, I hit F1 instead of escape. But that is in model space currently. And when I double click here, now I'm working in paper space, and when I zoom out, zoom in and zoom out, it zooms out in paper space. When I double click in here and I zoom in and zoom out, it zooms out in model space. So that can be a little confusing until you understand kind of how viewports work. But that is pretty much the basic. So again, all lesson 26C wants us to do is to create a viewport. As you can see up here, mine is still saved as 26B. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as 26C, my decimal setup. And so I have one every step of the way. One other thing I do want you to notice is that my title block got finished up. So I have Marietta Valley High School. It's called My Decimal Setup. By the way, this one is on, mine's currently on the construction layer, but this should be on the text heavy layer. And all the rest of the stuff was on the text light layer. So that's what that ended up looking like. And again, 26C, really all we needed to do was to draw a viewport. So I'll see you again in the next tutorial.